I'll teach you everything you need to know about else and else if in 5 minutes. So we did the if statements, but what if you want to do something else when the condition is false? Well, that's when we use an else statement. To use an else statement, you have to make an if statement. For example, let's use this part and make a variable local part A is equal to workspace dot part A. And we want to check if this part's transparency is equal to 1. And if that part's transparency is equal to 1, we're going to print howdy partner. Now we're going to add an else and we're going to print oi mate. So what the script is doing is if part A's transparency is equal to 1, it's going to check, is the transparency equal to 1? No, it's not. So if it's equal to anything else but 1, then it's going to print oi mate. So take a guess, what's it going to print out here? It printed out oi mate because it took a look at the transparency. Is it equal to 1? Nope. Well, if it's not equal to 1, do whatever else is in this section. But what if we do change the transparency to 1? What's going to happen now? Howdy partner. So what the script is doing is if the part's transparency is equal to 1, it's going to check, oh, it is. So he's got to print this, and it doesn't even worry about the rest of the code. It just does one condition. Let's say we want to print howdy partner if the transparency is 1, and we want to print oi mate if the transparency is equal to 0.5. And if it's neither of those, we want to say goodbye. See you later. We can use an else if statement for situations like this. Let's make the if statement like normal, the first condition, and the second condition, we're going to use an else if. It's just the same as an if statement, but inside of this if statement, if that makes sense. Else if the part A dot transparency is equal to 0.5, then so it's going to check, is part A's transparency 1? Oh, it is. So now we're going to print howdy partner. And that's it. It doesn't check any more of the else if statements or the else. But let's change this to 0.5. Now it's going to check, is part A's transparency equal to 1? Nope. Moving on to the next else if statement. Is it equal to 0.5? It is. So it's going to print oi mate. But if it's none of those, we want to print out else. We want to print goodbye, see you later. And the if, the else if, and the else are kind of like their own little block, kind of. And that's why they're off to the side. They're not indented, but they're part of this guy. They're just like subsections within the if statement. So they don't get indented. They go all the way at the same level of this because they're all at the same level. So as you can see, it's going to check, is it equal to 1? And if it is, it'll print this. If it's not, it'll move on to the next condition. Is it equal to that? If it is, it'll print this. If it's not, it'll go to else. And this else, it doesn't matter if it's 0.75, it doesn't matter if it's 0.05. It's going to print this out no matter what it is. If it's not equal to any of these prior conditions, it's going to print out whatever we told it to in the else statement. This is like a catch all other scenarios type of thing. So, and yeah, you can do as many else if statements as you'd like. Else if part A dot transparency is equal to whatever, then else if part A dot size is equal to vector3 dot new, whatever. You can do as many else if statements as you'd like, but two equal signs. I'm a terrible teacher. But let's keep it to how we had before. Little quiz time. I'm gonna change this to 0.5. Tell me what's gonna happen. Wait, mate. Change it to 0.6. What's gonna happen? Goodbye, see you later. I'm gonna change it to 1. Tell me what happens. Howdy, partner.